중원 놓친 거였어. 심지어 15교 마친 원준이 형은 공이 없어가지고 외병 와서 늦었어.
우린 몇 분 남았냐? 우리는 50초?
Time to get back to it on the KLPGA Tour. This is round 2 of the Dukshin EPC Seoul Economics Ladies Classic. We are live at the 88 Country Club in Yongin-si, and we are about the midway mark of the rounds for our respective featured groups, from Im Jin-young, Chi Han-sol, and Kim So-yi as the last to begin the back nines, through the likes of Park Bo-gyam, Kim In-byul, Hyun Se-rin, Hong Hyun-ji, etc. We are shaping up to be in a fantastic run of form on this pivotal second day, as the field of 102 jockeys to try and make the cut, with a projected cut line at the moment of +2, and our defending champ narrowly inside of that margin at +1. It's going to be an absolutely fascinating 3 hours on the KLPGA Tour. So glad that you could be with us once again this afternoon. It is 22 degrees and a whole lot of blue above this fantastic facility in Yongin-si. And while it's pleasant to look across the mountains and to the wide open skies, the reason we're all here is for the action on the grass. And we'll begin our coverage today with Hung Yoo-min on the par 4 12th hole. She was just and only just inside of that front edge of the green, past the bunker, and she's been able to put together a very promising start to her round, about 2/3 of the way through it, and her 3-under score has her sitting in a very, very good spot towards the top. Our leader at the moment as we begin on this Friday afternoon, well, they're certainly not fully in the clear, with lots of players just on their back heel waiting for a mistake. We'll get you well, we've already shown you the full leaderboard. We can tell you that Im Jin-young is at 8 under par. Chi Han-sol, her group mate, just 1 shot back after an opening 9 of 32 strokes scored. One of the best rounds thus far. Lee Dong-eun, another one at that 4-under marker. Next to play her second on the par 5 10th cut there in the end, Hong Hyun-ji, who shot a 34 on the way out. She's tied for 4th at 4 under. Of course, at this stage of the season, you pay particular attention to the rookies as they look to solidify or move up in their particular season-long race. Yoo Hyun-jo remains the rookie of the season and quite comfortably ahead of Lee Dong-eun. This is Yang Yan-so, our low amateur, and it's not a particularly close race. She has 3 strokes on Kim Yan-so, excuse me. Up in that top 10 by day's end yesterday and picking up where she left off. Nice ball. Get there into an up and down to save the par. We'll go to 11 with Lee Dae-yeon and a pitching wedge in hand. It is 116 meters to the green, and the pin today is closer to the back, 12 yards from the back fringe. Sticks it in nice and tight. Be about 3 meters on her putt for a birdie. towards to 12. Yu Hyun Jo also pitching wedge. She's 110 meters out. Needs to no wind to give her a bit of a boost, pushing her closer to target. She is on those first 5 strides on the green. While we waited 10 for the group on the green to finish out, we can see the tee shot at the 160-meter par 3 13 for Hung Yoo-min. Finally ready to play the approach, and it was well worth the wait. Absolute layup. That putt for birdie will be next. Trying to see if her partner can follow suit, but it was certainly not the right decision in terms of club selection. She is on, but I think would have preferred to have a little less lob on the wedge. This is Pak Bo-gyam. Excellent start to the tournament yesterday. Shooting a 69. One of the reasons why she is in this second to last group to tee off the back 9 of the West course. And each of the 3 in group 31, quite frankly, will feel like they had a decent start, but nothing to grab any headlines for Kim Min-bell. Just a 35 on the way. That's 1 under. And halfway to the top of the combined tournament scores. She follows suit, sneaking that in behind Pak Bo-gyam. It's going to be a long setup shot. It's pin high and slightly missed to the left. And back to the par 3. Hung Yoo-min had the option, pitching wedge or putter. She chooses the latter, uphill. Excellent setup. and she would have reached the green and saw just how long there was left. She would have been mentally preparing for a 2-putt par. Short, simple finish, and we will head right along to number 14 with Pak Ju-young. She was at 3 under prior to that shot. She still technically is, but will be fancying her odds to see -4 beside her name on the leaderboard. On that is birdie number 3 today, and it moves her 3 back and a tie for 3rd. Some nice symmetry. ENG not wanting to stumble here. These mid-range always so complicated. Uphill, little right to left, and she overthought and overstruck the ball. Playing with her pace, she kept the flagstick in for a reason, and unfortunately for her, it can't be used as a backstop. Final group 2, Tia Fontaine, featuring our leader. We'll see her momentarily. Each of the 3 will be working back to this 10th green, and they'll be hoping that they don't have nearly the same amount of problems. That's 2 now inside of 4 feet, and it will go from birdie to bogey in just a span of about 30 seconds. Bogyam at no risk of encroaching on the players on the green. She just uses that hybrid to eat up the remaining distance in the fairway. So this is how things shake up as our featured group has just got underway off the tee on number 10. Im Jin Young with a 1-stroke advantage over Chi Han Seoul. Lee Daeyeon and Park Bo-gyam sharing the third spot at 5 under par. Hung Yoo-min is up 10 positions today to 4 under, and Lee Dong-eun, the rookie, up 35 places as she shoots a 68 in the second round and is within 5 and inside of the top 10. A player we will keep a very close eye on is Park Young-young, who has just 5 holes to play and is only 1 stroke clear of the cut line, which is currently at +2. And this is round 2, of course, now that we're talking about the cuts at the Dukshin EPC Seoul Economics Ladies Classic on a beautiful sunny Friday afternoon in Yonggi. Resuming our coverage this afternoon with Kim Min-byul in her approach at 10. She was only 88 meters away using that long distance driving ability to find herself wonderfully close to the pin. And next up at 13. High towards the power lines. It was a tee shot that took power and accuracy and a whole lot of finesse. And that is the type of birdie putt you can make with your eyes closed. And Pak Bo-gyam also going nice and close. A case of anything you can do, I can do better. She has said no turtleneck today. Playing too hot for an extra layer. And in her Friday teal, she delivers a marvelous approach shot. Lee Dae-yeon next at number 12, 116 meters for her to go. Going to be along the left side of this green, just like that. Lands it about pin high. It'll be something of a tricky downhill putt. She can be on her speed and not get too overzealous. She should be okay. Next up is Hyun Se-rin at 11. We'll try to walk the tightrope along the right fringe, but end up off of it. Kim Min-byul now, and that is birdie number 3, just how she started the front 9. With a circle on the scorecard. All smiles, and understand why.
거의 비슷해 전부 다.
Now here is our leader, Im Jin-young. Her feet in the second cut, but the ball in the fairway just as it remains after 2 swings. No qualms for Jihan Seoul as well. It's a perfect 3 for 3 for our featured group, number 33 today, featuring some of the best in the nation. Pak Bo-gyam, she's able to benefit from a marvelous approach. She is bogey free through 10 with 3 birdies as well. razor thin margins. Significantly more difficult by the length of that first putt. Hung Yumin will have to tap in for par. The supporters gallery out in full voice. And why not? It's a nice birdie. Just have the speed. She had to be careful with it being a downhill punt, but Idayon, the second time today, has back-to-back birds. She goes to 6 under. Plodding along well, but struggling a little bit with the putter. Just as our low amateur suffers the same consequence, just being slightly offline with the flat stick, pushing it to the outside right of the cup. We'll move along next to Kim Min Bial at 5 under par now. Score good enough to share the 4th position on the leaderboard, and we sing her praises consistently about the long driving distance. Hard to find a longer driver most weeks on the KLPGA Tour, but she trades in some of that accuracy for the power and ends up left of the fairway, disappearing behind the trees. On 10, the setup shot for Im Jin Young is just double digits. She'll get a very lovely little roll to move that to, let's call it 3.5 meters away. Yesterday when she spoke to SBS Golf after her round, she summarized the day well, saying, "I wish I could play like today for the remaining 3 days, but golf can't be done at will." Adding that the greens will play faster today. Something to take a mental note of and make the necessary adjustments. Next approach belongs to Jihan Seoul. It's going to be much further back than she would have hoped. She is the furthest from the pin in the group. Beginning at the par 3 and just clearing the front side of the green. Jihan Seoul is going to be hard-pressed to find a birdie to climb up to reach Im Jin Young, who should be able to find 9 under, assuming she can connect on that birdie putt. Kim Yeon So missing an opportunity of a birdie of her own at the last as she keeps herself inside of the top 20. We have 31 players at the minute, even par from 102 in the field, and good news for Park Young-kyung, who has birdied to give herself a bit more breathing room from the projected cut line that remains +2. On a Friday afternoon at the 88 Country Club, we'll be back with more on the KLPGA Tour. After Im Jin-young sets the bar extraordinarily high. See Pak Bok-yam's approach. Those two very much pushing each other along in the best kind of way. Inspiring the other to bring out their own best. Now Kim So-hee. She's been due. Brings her back to even par for the day. Her first birdie here on number 11. And we have found Kim Min-byul left of the cart path beneath the trees. It's Kim So-hee on 10, excuse me. Kim Min-byul on 11. Might have just caught the overhanging branches. You could hear the sound and you can see what the end result is, as she is all smiles despite ending up in the bunker. Young, nicely putt. After a rather long delay, finds her fourth birdie in a 6-hole span. Moves up to 9 under. Rightful applause as the setup for a par ends up maybe 20 centimeters away. And now Kim Min-byul from the sand. It's not just that she was in the trap, it was how far away she was from the pin. Certainly it's tough to save it with that much yardage to overcome. Driving on down and finding the fairway. Here's Yen Se-rin, second at 12.
굿샷.
Agreeing with the supporters there. Very easy assessment of that approach. And that will just stomp about 3 revolutions short of the birdie. And Seoul, the last to get us underway at 11. Won't have one single complaint or wish I had done this about that drive. Kim Min-byul unable to finalize that sand save. She'll be dropping. Ending up about pin high in the stretch of fairway that separates the two greens. Back with Pak Bo-gyam now. Short changes it, and it's a slow walk over to the ball to nudge it the rest of the way for her par. Yesterday, it was a little underwhelming. She's under par now today at 1 under, which is the same score she finished at by day's end on Thursday. Bogey now finalized. Impromptu trip to the beach after a drive that went left of the fairway, and bogeys for the second time in the round. Just 3 weeks away from the WeMix Championship, Saturday, Sunday, the 16th and 17th at the Beach and Resort, or Golf and Resort, excuse me. 1 million WeMix coins up for grabs. It's a tournament that will feature the top 24 players in the WeMix point standings. And throughout the season, the top 60 will have their share of 500,000 coins split amongst them. Kim Soo-ji was the big mover at the end of last week. She's up 3 spots into 6th, the top 5 remaining unchanged. Here's Hung Yumin from off the green. Ends up being a 2-putt par for her. And a 12, Hyun Se-rin to get to 5 under, a little downhill putt. And it is perfectly on line as she moves into sole possession of 5th. It is her 3rd birdie of the round. She knew she let an opportunity slip, and as a result, starting to lose a little bit of ground. On Im Jin-young. Seoul after a marvelous drive. Keeps that positive momentum going. Runs down the right side of the green and is about 5 feet away from a bird. Furthest from the pin with a short approach for our leader. She can afford a par or two while everyone else tries to just keep on riding her coattail. She's 2 strokes clear of Seoul. We'll see what happens on the 11th green in just a few minutes. See Daeyeon now up into a tie for 3rd at 6 under par. Kim So-hee back to even with her birdie at number 10 as well, playing in our featured group today. We'll see if she can stitch together a riveting back 9. This is the Dukshin EPC Seoul Economics Ladies Classic. We're down to the final 4 events of the 2024 KLPGA Tour season. Stay with us as our coverage of the second round here at 88 Country Club will return shortly. Bit of a game of follow the leader taking place on hole number 11. We can go to 12 in the interim. Yum, it's 6 under par. She was short at the last. She goes a little bit longer this time. We've seen multiple people find success with that distance. Let's try to add her name to the list next. Here's Jihan Seoul. 3-meter putt, but she was expecting some left to right break that never ended up transpiring for her. On the green and a nice little loop back to bring it inside of 5. We cast our eyes back onto our leader. Trying to stay at 9 under Im Jin Young. Downhill, so the speed is what she'll be most concerned with. Couldn't put it through the break, so she had to be perfectly aligned, but it is her first proper mistake of the round. A bogey that drops her back to 8 under. It's good news for the chasing pack, including Jihan Seoul. From the fringe at number 12, EA1 is now 5 strokes back thanks to the miss. Able to hole out from off the green. Moving her inside of the top 10 now, tied for 6th in fact. Birdie's at 6-12 and a bogey at 5. The tail of the tape for her thus far today. Here's an uphill effort. Didn't quite have the line sorted for her either. These faster and firmer greens requiring a little bit more care and attention than they had yesterday. Kim Min Bial breaks away to the right at the very end. Tough to tell from our angle if she If you would have been on the line with a bit more speed, it looks as though that answer would be no. And now Yan Yan. So the amateur goes to 5 under. It's tied for 5 now with her 4th birdie of the day. She still has 4 holes to play. The door opened ever more slightly for Chihan Seoul. She'll be the first to begin as par for 12th. Gripped and ripped. Left of center in the fairway. Expect the odd bogey every time you arrive at the course. The true trick of this sport is to minimize the number of those instances, and certainly you never want to make it 2 bogeys in a row. She is off the fairway in regulation, bouncing and rolling into the rough.
나이스 파!
Holes in a row, maybe even 3 in a row now, where it's not quite been on for Pak Bogyam. Two putts gets her there for her par. We are nearing the end of our season on the KLPGA Tour. Of course, there's always some action on the feeder tours, the Jump and Dream Tours. This week from the One Country Club.
이거 우승을 안 했으면은 엄청 위험한 상황 등수여가지고 사실 이것도 대기 번호가 돼가지고 이 시합을 나올 수 있었는데 그만큼 마음 편하게 시합에 임할 수 있어서 더 좋은 결과가 나온 것 같습니다. 왕중왕전을 오히려 더 마음 편하게 3일인데 3일 동안 컷도 없이 같이 치는 선수들과 진짜 재밌게 칠 수 있을 것 같아서 너무 좋습니다.
For those looking to make the jump, the late season success always very, very welcome. Even the players on the senior tour, without the various exemptions, they know that they need a good season-long classification to avoid falling off the main circuit. Makes this time of year all the more pressure-packed. Our second hour begins here at the 88 Country Club. And it will begin with Yang Yun So and her 5-iron on the tee of 15. Her final par 3 of the day. Going to stay towards the right side of the green. It's exactly where she's flown to. Next tee shot on the par 3. We have a lot of work still to do. It's a trickier pin placement today as it's kind of guarded, isn't it? The pin around the corner where it widens out. This is 13, and it's Lee Dayan coming up short. She doesn't even make the fringe. Seoul applauded for her approach shot at 12. Aside from Im Jin Young dropping to 8 under with her bogey at 11, not much movement in the top 10. The most notable update from our last look at the leaderboard is, of course, our 2-player race for the low amateur. It is Yang Yun So currently, who's up to 5 under with her birdie at 14 in the home stretch of her second round. Projected cut, it remains at +2. And if we were to be at the finish line right now, we would be welcoming in 63 players to the weekend rounds as the gray skies start to roll in here in Yongin-shi. We'll have more from the Dukshin EPC Seoul Economics Ladies Classic just a couple of minutes. The last hole was Kim Min-byul struggling with driver. The second hole is her struggling on the approach game, and once again, in a bit of a tricky spot just before the green. She is able to get up, but she doesn't get down. It'll be back-to-back bogeys, just as this was really back-to-back birdies for Kim So-hee. Starting to rediscover her stride in the birdieing prowess on the back nine here. Park Bo-gyeom could narrow the gap to one. It would take a borderline miraculous birdie putt. Gives us a pretty good idea of the left to right break she'll be contending with on that putt for par next as well. And now Ji-hyun Seoul. Just fading offline at the very end. She was that close to snatching her share of the top spot, but she will have to settle for a par. Fast forwarding to EA1 at number 13. She too is knocking on the door, but is not permitted to enter. At 15, Lee Dae-yeon on the fairway. She was that short on the tee shot at the par 3. Uphill slope to the pin, takes any and all remaining speed off of that stroke, and will be putting for par next, just as Kim Min-byul is doing here. And it is in fact back-to-back bogeys. Not doing yourselves any favor off the tee these last 10 minutes. Jin-young should have no issue with this 2-meter putt. It is able to preserve her advantage for at least one more hole. Park Bo-gyeom, it is a 2-putt par for her. 160-meter par 3. That group will be back on the par 4s for just a moment before turning to 15, the long 178-meter par 3, just off in the distance. The approach here immediately being shaped left to right, precisely where it needed to go. So can she do it again? And nearly gets a fraction of the outside edge of the hole. Not enough to persuade the ball to fall. Serene at 14. Just a little pitch to get it up and started from the fringe. It's a long lazy loop around the back, and we'll be putting for par next. To stay at 6 under, starting this well to the outside right of her target. Too generous, in fact, with the break. Kim So-hee now has the honor, hanging around at 4 under. player in the top 30 who is yet to be under for the round, but she's in a much better run of form here on the back nine, punctuated with a decent tee shot like that one. Fortunate trip around the par 3 for Lee Dae-yeon. It's her first bogey of the day, and it reduces her once again to 5 under par. She's on the fence. She doesn't know if she likes it just yet. That would be why. It's pin high for being generous, but on the opposite side of the green. Rare instance where the get in the hole chance actually work. Hyun-jo with a very nice birdie. 4 today as she goes to 4 under par. Our leading rookie by a vast margin in 2024. Shot was almost underselling that effort. And asked for a whole lot more from the tee at the par 3. Beautiful scenes looking down towards the fairway on 14. Wide and welcoming fairway, and she finds it. Where she is headed. That's all that gave Yeon Se-rin some difficulty. She records her first bogey of the day. Is 4 under par now as she is very much in the back half of her second round. It is a tie for 7th with Park Ju-young and Yoo Hyun-jo amongst others. As Im Jin-young's lead remains ever so slight. 1 stroke, 8 under, which is ironically the same score that Park Hyung-kyung won with last year in 2023. Step aside once more, back just around the corner on the back nine of the West Course at the 88 Country Club.
너무 완벽해가지고 난
아니 나는 우리 아이들 게이트 써서
이거는 어쩔 수 없다.
근데 못 내려가.
장기
이런 거 있잖아요. 이거 하고
아무도
이렇게
표를 안 준다나.
이렇게 한 다음에 어떻게 다시
나 자존심 상해.
살짝 올라가. 안 출발해.
표정이 안 가?
이게 거의 없어. 안쪽만. 이게 지금 똑바로 가요.
And welcome back to the Dukshin EPC Seoul Economics Ladies Classic. We got the action with our featured group on the par 3 13th. That is where Jihan Seoul has birdied for the 5th time today. It's really been each of the last 3 holes where she's been probing towards that top spot and finally is able to find the elusive 8 under score. Approach that leave her a little bit of regret, just as this putt will here. So after that birdie, she was within touching distance on each of the last 2 holes. While Jihan Seoul is going up, she is stalling a little bit. We have a feline friend on the course. Certainly they're after some birdies of their own, I'm sure. wasn't going to be easy. There would be no coasting to a win. There wasn't even likely to be any coasting towards the lead at the end of 36 holes.
좋다 좋다.
So learned that last year in the playoff for her to beat So Young. She is 8 strokes back at the end of 36 holes. 2 bogeys, a double bogey as well at 9 today. Disappointing day at the office for our defending champion. So it is a second bogey of the afternoon. It inevitably brings her back over par for the tournament as well. Back bogey on. Give it a stiff swing. Keep the speed up. About 2 feet past her target and left. Here's Pak Ju-young also on 18. A much different afternoon for her though than Pak Young, but she'll end on a level note when the aforementioned defending champion ended on a high. First shot on the par 4 belongs to Jihan Seoul, fresh off her birdie. She's not quite going to have the skips to get back into the fairway. So now a co-leader, Im Jin-young. No trouble for her whatsoever to find the middle of the fairway. So from the back corner of 16, letting gravity do the majority of the work here. Speed-wise, that's brilliant from the amateur. Again, Serene at 15, it will be a 5-iron for her. Can you kindly demand? She was kindly demanding that it stay on the green. Luckily for her, it did. Similar situation for Ida Young, just a little nudge to get it started. Breaking right much sooner. About twice as far out from the pin as Yang Seoul. Mr. EJ18 is Hung Yu Min, 78 meters out and 7-meter climb to get up onto the green. Up onto the back, she can certainly work with that. Trying to avoid dropping now. Breaks left break on the putt. Ensures that it's just the 2 strokes with that club, and her score remains unchanged. Putt for Hyun-Se-Rin. Here it comes. Break begins a touch early. It's always the likeliest outcome. There with the par. Back on 16, just a little tap. Yang Seoul reserves that score for one more hole. She's found a groove and not showing any signs of departing from it. She's in a really, really good frame of mind right now. Excellent shot making, excellent decision making as well. Members in our featured group in the top 10 of the We Mix points this season. If they keep it up and find a top 10 finish in the tournament, they could give their standing a big boost heading towards that season finale in 3 weeks' time. See the ridge on this screen with that zoomed out camera angle. It means Kim So-hee will need to ascend. Try and stay in that very narrow window. One last check of the wind for Chi Han-Seoul. 79 meters out for her. She barks at the ball. She's going to be a little bit short. Be an uphill birdie putt. Looking 54-9. $79 for Im Jin Young and a 54-degree wedge. Trying to put a little bit of that pressure back on Jihan Seoul. I'm sure she's feeling a lot of it herself right now. Three-quarters of a swing. Didn't want to give it all she had, and it ends up almost perfectly in line with her companion atop the leaderboard. Park Bo-kyung with a 5-iron at 15. That's been the popular club here. 178 meters, but significantly downhill. It's a test of the bravery. That pin placement today aligned left of the green. As the final few groups come through that par 3 finale. Starting to get a clear picture of the top 5. Certainly our picture of the top is muddled right now with 2 names at 8 under par. The projected cut, by the way, that's worthy of note, has dropped to +3, which means there's probably a few players just in a bit of a struggle trying to reach the midway mark of this 2024 Dukshin EPC Seoul Economics Ladies Classic. We are just past 90 minutes of coverage here on round number 2. Young sees her approach up in a more than manageable position. Sees the putts begin from the border of the fringe. This one will go. Hard stopper, no doubt. Soa Jean. 3 birdies in her final 4 holes to ascend the leaderboard before calling it a Friday. .93 meters from the fairway for Lee Dae-yeon. It's a 50-degree wedge. She needs a little bit extra. It was the absolute perfect club choice for that shot. Rewarded for a very nice looking approach. Excuse me, rewarded with a really nice looking approach from a good tee shot. Ji-hyun Seoul walks that one in. She goes to 9 under. The lead is all hers. 6 birdies now today and back to back. Heading into the final 4 holes. There are a few players with Nostradamus-esque qualities like Ji-hyun Seoul has. Practice those shots as often as she does, you often know what the outcome's going to be for you and I. Takbogyam, she has left herself with a lot of yardage on her putts in the back 9. Another example right here. Really just eliminating her bona fide opportunities of birdie. She'll have to settle for another par here. Hung Yamin hopes that's not the same for her on 18. The back left corner. Downhill putt. Basically supporters thought it was good, and they chuckle at the cruelty of what they were hoping to be one final birdie, but ends up being par. It's 68 for her today. She's tied for 4th as she exits the course. Group. No real reason for complaints. Side by each, all about 5 meters below the pin. Next on 18 is Yoo-hyun Jo. Long removed from a birdie. She'll go to Yumin's previous position on the green. K ranking this season. David didn't have many reasons to get the gallery shouting. Certainly an approach like that one will change that in a hurry. Clouds have rolled in, keeping this a cool Friday afternoon. 3:43 p.m. local time here in Yongin-chi. Waiting for our featured group to make it to the tee blocks, perched up above the hill. See the pin on the right side of the left green here today. Ji-hyun Seoul is electing to go with the hybrid off the tee. She's 6 under today. Mind 178 meters the distance on this par 3. Where's this going to end up? A pensive look on her face. Not quite apprehension. She knew she was likely going to be done with the birdie run she's currently on. Young now trailing and trying to respond. Tee shot is good. The par can be the same, or the putt can be the same. Might just be able to go grab that 9 under once again. So fails to capitalize. There's Buckbog Yum. Over the water, over the sand, looking for the fairway. Step 1 successful. Here's Jens Serene on 16. So away she goes, and we see a new name at the top of the leaderboard. Chihan Seoul, 6 under today through 14. It is the weekend best and the daily best as well. Kim So-hee unfortunately back over par, +1 for 3 under. See Park Ji-young there along with the uni now 2 under as they are either finished or nearly finished their second rounds. And by some quick math, 7 strokes off the top. A lead currently occupied by Chihan Seoul. things up. On 18, where there's a little bit of a unsatisfactory end to the round with that missed opportunity at a birdie. Bogyam has struggled with her approach game today, certainly compared to yesterday. With her 8 iron here, she knows that even 3 consecutive birdies probably wouldn't be enough for the top spot by day's end, but she wants to stay in the mix for tomorrow. And unfortunately, that's exhibit T of those struggles to make the birdie putts shorter and easier. Well, it's a long time coming for Uni now. 4 today in terms of the birdies, offset by 2 bogeys. Kickstart a run for us. Seoul with yet another. That was a hybrid to the green and a long way away, and she is showing us that her putter is 1000% dialed in. Jin Young knows exactly what she needs to do. She is at risk of being left behind with everyone else. Left to right swooping putt, but she leaves it short. Falter, but she's dropping out of the race through some scintillating play by Seoul. For our lead rookie of the year. She finishes tied for 7th at 4 under. She's getting used to hearing her name chanted. She has captured a lot of hearts and minds this season with some absolutely wonderful play.
여기선 거의 힘 다 빠져서 그냥 이거야.
Bogyam, way off in the distance, she sees the cup. And nearly sees her effort find it. And unfortunately for her, the speed wasn't quite on the mark either. She has to walk well beyond the cup to go get it, and it leaves the chance for a bogey floating just over her shoulder. Seoul is. You can understand why she is looking to keep this show on the road, keep the momentum rolling. Driver skipping into the second cut and is looking a little bit deflated, just needs to dig deep and find the motivation to handle these last 3 holes. Backspin coming in absolutely clutch on 18. Maybe a bit too good. The downslope. Stops there, she'll be in okay. And Serene in her pitching wedge. Looking up towards the sun. With her pal. Players attacking the pin well. Can't buy a break. Putts for birdie too long, and as a result, not only is she not picking up the strokes, she's now losing them. First bogey today comes at 16, looking for a big turnaround in the final couple of holes. Jan Seoul walks down to the 16th fairway. She'll look down at that scorecard with a big smile, you'd have to imagine. Let's go to 18. Hidayama with a chance to reach -7 by day's end. He's not going to have the power required. Final 2 revolutions and the satisfying tink. the visor in acknowledgement of the supporters. Still a good day for her with 5 birdies, just the 1 drop shot. 67. Feels much better though, doesn't it? Kicking herself a little bit right now. Seeing a few different people with cold putters right now. Jin Young, she's fighting it a little bit with Kim So-hee. More of attrition right now as much as anything. Jian-Seoul next to approach 118. An 11-meter climb up as well. She's going with 9. I wonder if that's enough club. Who are we to doubt? Our leader, she made an almost identical putt on 16. Excuse me, on 15, the last. EA1 playing her second shot on the par 5 18th. So one more for the road. For that one little misstep at 3. Straighten it all out, and hey, 5 birdies on the way in is a brilliant score for anyone, let alone an amateur player. So just a little tap for the par. 35 holes down of her tournament. Pak Bogeyama, who just needs a little moment to give her the boost she needs to finish out. Penultimate group on the march. Chung Soo-yeon At 1 under on 18, it's 104 meters this approach. See this for Im Jin Young, she will be more than satisfied with her approach. Pin high, call it 3 meters. Dazzling. At the scorebook, slightly off there, obviously. Not so much an approach when it's just shorter on the green. At 94 meters in the rough once again after the drive. Trying to stay as close to the front as she can, but obviously she wanted to be on. EA1 at 90 meters. Quietly at 4 under, but shot like that, anything but quiet. Get back into a tie for 5th with Bert there to finish it out. Kim Min-byul, even with a couple of bogeys today, she's had that smile pretty much as a permanent fixture. .1 meters for Chihan Seoul. Trying to keep this run alive. Slightly less than a quarter. The average make from this yardage. Couldn't defy the odds this time. Run of sheer and utter dominance was due to come to a close eventually. Little tap and par to get it the rest of the way, and we'll see how Im Jin Young fares. Pak Bo-gyum from under the hole, that top corner. Little pitch and roll. Leave herself with a little more than 10 centimeters for her par. the books, down to 18 to enhance the score. And 18 in this corner that has been oh so popular today. Jung Soo-yeon, the most recent to find it. See if she's online. Nope, she's just a little bit right. Tied for 26 at the end of the day. 3 bogeys, 2 birdies. -1 is the score. She has patiently waited for her turn. And the patience is rewarded with a return to the birdie column for Im Jin Young. Decreases the deficit to just 1 stroke with 2 to play. Kim Min-byul overhits it and was slightly misaligned to her right. "17 is where we head next. You can see it's a fairly straight shot despite a undulating fairway with a few different ridges transversing it. Jihan Seoul at 10 under par. She's not waiting around. Driver in hand, ready to get this final par 4 of the round underway. Well, here's ZA1. Fairly flat. The direct line she takes to pick up a birdie. The second to last, just their 3rd today. It's T5. Yonsei Reen, 1 meter short of 100. Is that the kickstart to the run-in that she was looking for. Up on the right foot with the birdie and the drive. Got about 750 meters before she can call it a day. Some of the autumn colors starting to come out in ENG. Perfect little sequence. 1, 2, and 3. All in the back corner of number 18. One fresh off the bird, down the narrow corridor of the fairway. Call it a narrow corridor for a reason. The next drive doesn't have the same luck as the one preceding it. Skimming Bjell into the rough. That leaves Pak Bogiam. Down 2 spots from where she began this Friday round. She had been in 3rd. That's why she's in the penultimate group instead of the final. 2 of the 3 in the fairway. Decent numbers. Little bend of the knees. Golfers always believe that that will translate to the ball staying straight. Hey, whatever works. A 4th birdie for Hyun Se-rin today. Ending on a high note. It's a heartbreaker. Standing over it, seeing what her partner had just done. Why not me? Jin Young locates that white ball of hers. Jihan Seoul, our leader, a 90-meter approach on 17. And in with a little backspin to boot. So her departure from the birdies looks to be very short-lived. In fact, just the one hole, assuming she can connect on that forthcoming putt. Once again, it'll be on Im Jin-young to respond, or at least try to respond. Maybe not as dazzling, but she is certainly in with a shot. Works that up to pin high. There's the beaming smile that has been missing in action the last 90 minutes or so. Bit of a struggle this back nine, certainly compared to yesterday. And now, Hong Hyun-ji, excuse me. We've seen this on a couple occasions for her today. Pin in, ball out. Too much speed once more, and she does a 270-degree loop. Pops out the other side. We know from there she would finish with the bogey. EA1, meanwhile, taking her opportunity to play number 2. Comfortably working along this very slim hull. The lead up to the 18th green. ENG minimizes the damage with that putt for bogey. Back to end the day, and it's an even 72. And you can see the frustration painted across her face, knowing that she left some strokes out on the course today. Little unfortunate, Bang Bo-gyam on the second shot, unable to climb back onto the fairway.
여기 있어. Look at this approach path. A crescent-shaped putt, no way. Absolutely sensational. Kim So-hee. Incredibly well done for just her second birdie of the round. She had no business seeing the invisible line and beyond that, delivering one of the putts of the afternoon. Haven't seen many go long at 18. A miscalculation, and it does a pretty good job summarizing the back nine for Pak Bo-gyum today. Jin Young, it wouldn't be nearly as impressive as Kim So-hee's, but it would feel just as lucrative. Here it goes, and just gonna have enough as well. Perfect 2 for 2. Ji Han-sul can't drop the ball now, could she? Birdie 5 to 4 under. Birdie at 18 would see her replicate yesterday's astounding performance. Perfectly online, EA1. Just gonna have deceptive break left to right. Opportunity for Ji Han-sul to add another to her breathtaking round. Not quite gonna hang on. You could tell she was between two minds. Certainly with that close-up angle, you could see she had given herself a little bit more left and thought against it. Closing the angle, and she's not necessarily concerned, but also not wanting to rush through this. Full minute of preparation for this putt for par. Ji Han-sul is stuck to 10 under as she will join her partners at the tee on 18. Giving ball a little heavy. Rolling up onto the hillside fringe. wasting any time waiting for Jihan Seoul to arrive. First in the group. Cleared for blast off. Kim So-yi into the fairway and Im Jin-young into the fairway and Kim So-yi next. Pure swing, great sound, and it's matched by the end product also into the fairway, even though it's slightly camouflaged by the tree branches.
잠시만요, 사장님. 내 최고.
태극기가 센터?
아니, 태극기하고 나이트 사이가 센터요.
엄청 나이트?
뒤에 나이트.
Jihan So looking for a little bit extra power and sacrifices the accuracy in the drive, a fine line to try and navigate certainly. Bit more of the blue skies emerging this Friday evening now. Late afternoon into the early evening in Yongin. Picturesque 88 Country Club playing host to a 17th edition of this Dukshin EPC Seoul Economics Ladies Classic. The latter having been with the tour for so long, sponsoring so many events, even one more in a couple of weeks. And a new partner joining the fold this week as well, and lifting the purse to an incredible 1 billion won for the 102 players in the fields. Still a rather long way, half a kilometer away. Can head to Bakbogyam in the interim. Perched up on the hill, she lifts. Her third shot and runs it to about 5 meters away from the pin.
shots commencing. It's a perfect 2 for 2. Caught purely. So he hasn't had as many birdies as she would have liked today. Certainly considering where she was 24 hours ago, but solid opportunity through 2 strokes here on 18. Young with a successful shot with the 5-wood. Fairway for Jihan Seoul after being slightly off with her first. Approaches will follow the next couple of minutes. We'll head to the green in the meantime. It's a 3.9 meter putt for EA1. Looking to finish the day at 6 under, but a little bit soft on the swing. It will have to be 5 under instead. The 50% mark of the tournament. Birdies at 6, 12, and 17 today. A drop at 5 for a 2 under 70. Down, that was a noticeable relief, but after 10, things just shut down. 11 through 18, no more strokes gained, and one stroke, lost on the way in. Taps in her par as well, seeing her score. It's just outside of the top 10. 3 bogeys and birdies at 1 and 10 today for our champ from a couple of weeks ago.
캐리 110치죠. 오르막 펴면 되니까 안 하면 되니까.
뒤에 맥스 114? 혹시 다치면 뭐 살짝 뒤로 넘어가 있겠는데?
살짝 넘어가도 상관없어.
First to go will be Kim So-hee at 138. We know that these are uphill shots. And to stay left. Just like that.
shots in a row.
오르막 계산 안 하고 110 치면은
네.
Not quite as scintillating, but not much to be displeased with either for Jihan Seoul. Though her standard is certainly on another plane. But certainly not least Im Jin Young. Side by each with Jihan Seoul. Putts that all have a very reasonable birdie percentage rate. preparation walks always last a little bit longer. 3 players, the 3 best players. Yesterday's opening round, all with a realistic chance at a birdie. Jin Young knew right away though, she had squandered her opening. Seoul is next to try. It's gonna move pretty quick. Just a little slow. She had the line down to the millimeter. And with a bit of levity, she taps in her par. So she is the leader, but it's just by the 1 stroke. 1 and 4 and 4. Birdie's on the way in and birdie's on the way out. She is one of our most animated and beloved characters on this tour. And when it clicks for her, it is very, very difficult for anyone to even attempt to keep up. One last chance at a birdie, and so he delivers. Every single moment of this 18th hole for her was perfect. It's back-to-back birdies to finish the round, tied for 4th position. Within 1, heading to tomorrow's round. She'll be back with us in the featured group. She'll be back with Jihan Seoul. The leader after 18 will be chasing, heading into hole 37. She spoke of wanting to have 3 more identical rounds to how she started the tournament, but knew that it was never that simple in this sport that we love. And we will see her go tete-a-tete with Jihan Seoul in our 2nd round highlights. This was long before we came on the air, probably about 90 minutes, and it's too bad because it was an absolutely marvelous putt on hole number 4.
It's been hole number 5. It was 4 holes of pars before she was finally able to get back into the advantage, though it was fairly short-lived. Jihan Seoul was on an absolute tear to begin the second round. 4 birdies in a row at that point through 5 up to 7 under par. Next shot we'll see is Pak Bo-gyam from the sand and dropping that within just a couple of feet from an eagle. But the reason she was in the sand was because of her struggles with the driver, and that was a recurring theme for her throughout the round. That's why we won't see many more shots in terms of highlights for her in this pack. But we will still see a fair bit of Im Jin-young. So Jihan Seoul goes 4 in a row. Im Jin-young goes 3 in a row as she chips in from off the back and to the back 9. The next clip to watch. Navigating, we'll call it a 6-meter putt for birdie number 3. Would propel her to a share 4th position at 4 under. She's at 14. 368 meters and downhill before coming up. An uphill slope, really attackable hole, and that was incredibly well done. Hole number 12. We start to see the second time around that she was able to do. Maybe up with back-to-back birdies. It's a much different putt, a much longer putt. Race is rightfully sunk in 16. That took her to 4 under, but you can see that those scores are not bad scores by any stretch of the imagination, but certainly not in the same realm as Jihan Seoul. First birdie of the back 9 after 7 consecutive pars would kickstart another run for her. Following it up with a tee shot at 15, pin high, but on the opposite end of the putting surface. But Jihan Seoul makes absolutely no mistake with it, becoming the first player of the week to reach double digits with her 3rd consecutive par. And lastly, on 18. First off with our low amateur, absolutely worth celebrating. Birdie at the last to take Yang So into a tie for 3rd with Lee Dae-yeon. EA1 who not necessarily flying under the radar because she came out to start this tournament with a 69. She was up in a podium spot, but today a little bit quieter, only a 70 she was able to muster. And Jin-young, meanwhile, moving back within 1 of Jihan Seoul. She would be unable to put the pressure on. She putted first on 18. And the wily veteran with a chance to extend the lead to 2, but was just a fraction short. But a 65, an absolutely remarkable score. Easily the daily best and easily the tournament best thus far. That's what Im Jin-young had done yesterday to start this second round in the leads. And now, heading into the weekend, she finds herself trailing. As mentioned, the amateur Yang So at 6 under with Lee Dae-yeon. EA1, Hung Yoo-min, Hyun Se-rin, Pak Bo-gyam, all at that 5 under score. Kim So-hee, even par today, 72, with Yoo Hyun-jo, the rookie, and Pak Joo-young tied for 9th. So Jin, another rookie in, Pak Do-young, and Lee Dong-eun, there's our rookie at 3 under par. Lee Chae-rim, Yoonina, Kim Woo-jung, and Kim Min-byul rounding out the top 12. You have Park Ji-young, Chung Yoon-ji, and another amateur, Kim Yan-so, Kim Soo-ji, Ma Tae-som, Hong Hyun-ji, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is the top 20. As the leaderboard continues to tick through, you will see our defending champion, Park Young-kyung, who shot a 73 today. She's tied for 31st at even after 18, and these are the players who are probably feeling a little bit of the pressure. The first 2 hours of our broadcast today, our projected cut line was at +2. That has since dropped to +3. So anyone at +4 or higher beneath the teal line out of the running for this 180 million won payday from a 1 billion won purse. That's 73 players who are north of the line and will be joining us for more at the 88 Country Club this weekend. A note, as always, into the weekend rounds, our coverage begins 1 hour earlier for tomorrow, and for Sunday, that means 1 p.m. local time back here on the KLPGA Tour. For our SBS Golf crew, my name is Adam Jenkins. It's been a pleasure to be with you once again on a Friday afternoon in Yongin-shi, and we look forward to having you back tomorrow for moving day of the Dukshin EPC Seoul Economics Ladies Classic. But it's so long for now, and a farewell until tomorrow, where we'll have you back on the KLPGA Tour.